dropped points. It's still early days, but just 3 points separate second from 10th currently, meaning plenty can change in just a single evening. And AmaZulu will be keen to capitalize on a much more forgiving schedule than their hosts. They've not been in action for about a week and a half, whilst Downs have had only 2 days to recover from a shock home defeat in the MTN8 semi-final first leg against Slamontville Golden Arrows that was out in Atteridgeville on Sunday. So a third game for Mamelodi Sundowns in the space of 8 days. AmaZulu play their first in 11 days. And as such, Sundowns have had to tinker with their team every time they run out. So they have made, on average, 5 changes per game, 6 last time out ahead of that MTN8 clash against Slamontville Golden Arrows, and 8 changes today, with Ronwen Williams returning in place of Ricardo Goss, Basadine for Modiba, Kekana for Johannes. Morena makes the first start of the season. He's in from Donyelwa. Tabo Mokoena is back after missing the last 4 matches. Spilele Mkhulisi accompanies him in the midfield, with Obas and Allende dropping from the 11. Meanwhile, Bena Mokoena and Levo Motiba are sacrificed for Tashrik Matthews and Brian Leon. Here's William Shongwe with the formations.
And of course, with the return of Mokoena, what this means is the back four, he'll screen it, but there's going to be more fast-flowing players in front of him. That is where Sundowns might make this game work for them.
Well, for AmaZulu, they're yet to make more than 2 changes ahead of any of their matches this season in all competitions. It's just 1 for today. Spamandla Zikali lost his place in the 11 ahead of their win over Sibilele last time up. He regains his spot, with Sianda Hlangabeza dropping to the bench to accommodate that particular alteration.
3-5-2 is the formation, and it's a great flow of players on the wide areas. I'm talking about the wing backs, but it has helped Makoglu to play a little bit narrow, which helps Ngwenya in the striking force, where he creates most chances, already leading the goal-scoring charts for AmaZulu.
So Mamelodi Sundowns have a decent crowd out here at Loftus Versfeld for a Wednesday evening. Of course, the temperatures now in late August are absolutely delightful. As we confirm for you that Skumbuzo Gasa will oversee this match, assisted by Timiko Manga and Tabaga Sibati. Well, Miguel Cardoso, in just over 90 matches in charge of Mamelodi Sundowns, has never lost back-to-back, and he's always had success against AmaZulu. Played for 1-4 since taking charge. Atlaswane, though, in the league, the top flight, has come up against Sundowns 6 times, 5 of those instances with AmaZulu, and 5 defeats in charge of AmaZulu against Mamelodi Sundowns without scoring a goal. Can he change that today? The only time he's ever avoided defeats in a league match against Sundowns was with the Kaizer Chiefs back in the 2021-2022 season. Mamelodi Sundowns without scoring a goal. Can he change that today? The only time he's ever avoided defeat. Mamelodi Sundowns without scoring a goal. Can he change that today? The only time he's ever avoided defeats in a league match against Sundowns was with the Kaizer Chiefs back in the 2021-2022 season.
And then once in the Nedbank Cup, we have
Mokoena again. Now Tapelo Morena celebrated his 33rd birthday about 3 weeks ago. Coming in at right back. They will be without Khulisa Mudau for many, many months now, 6 to 8 purportedly. He is in for Zukum Donyelwa. Did come on to earn his first minutes over the weekend on for Sianda Ndlovu in the MTN 8. Was Tapelo Morena, as it's worked out here too. Self-same Ndlovu. Liam Byrne gets ahead on that. The Sundowns are really pinned AmaZulu, and Brian Leon can't sort his feet out, and now a chance for Sutu to escape. Ngwenya swinging it out wide, but too much on that for Banjo to retrieve.
Surprisingly, AmaZulu will come out from the high press of Mamelodi Sundowns against the slippery pitch. I spoke about how wet this field is. That makes some of the passes not go according to plan. So that, for me, is the only other worry for AmaZulu if they're going to try and play from the back with the high press that Sundowns provides.
Rugby played here 5 days ago, this past Friday night in the Currie Cup. The Bulls taking on the Stormers, the hosts losing that game. But it is a hybrid pitch, one of the few in the world that can manage the two codes. 50-50 synthetic and real grass that over the past season or so, year or so, has been slowly binding together and becoming stronger and stronger. Sundowns again search for a route forwards with Ndlovu quickly out of his feet to Morena.
Exactly the words by Atazwane, the coach. Mamelodi Sundowns are very patient in their build-up. They keep the ball for the longest as if they're not going to at all hurt you, but in a split second they can get that ball into the offensive part and hurt you.
Couldn't, however, hurt Le for Golden Arrows over the weekend. Try as they might, 22 shots in total, 6 hitting the target. Bandro, who came on as a substitute, was magnificent in goal for Abafana Bestende, who scored with their only shot on target. They'll be looking to overturn that deficit this coming weekend away from home. That loss to Le for Golden Arrows ended a 34-game unbeaten home run in all competitions. A run during which they won 28 times. First loss since 2-1 defeat to Chiefs in the Nedbank Cup semi-final in April of 2025 right here at Loftus. Tossed in by Megam Daka, who will turn 23 on Saturday. Nice weekend off for him, with AmaZulu no longer competing in the MTN 8, knocked out by Skukuni United in the quarter-finals of that game, or that competition rather. Bajra competing forward with Mailuna. Sundowns man got the better of him, but looked to be a foul on Zikali, so coming back for an Usutu set piece in a promising position.
They've been making steady build-ups on this right-hand side of the, or left-hand side of the channel, with the ball being knocked out by Sundowns, and eventually this foul, which they will get a chance to fly it into that box. And once again, it's one of those rare moments whereby the opposition has all the time to set the scene in the opposition's box. And they've got aerial presence. AmaZulu, you talk Phyllis, you talk Mtetwa, and of course Ngwenya, the top striker.
Ngwenya, who has scored in 4 matches in succession to start the season. It's Hanamob's ball, and with all that physical presence there in the box, you have to say a bit of a waste.
But he doesn't hang it high enough to get some of the players with aerial presence in the box.
Was it Khadebe with the free kick? Both stood over it. Here's Hanamob now. But certainly a wasted opportunity. Now Bandra, Zikali caught a little flat-footed on the flank. It wasn't the worst ball, the worst idea.
Hesitation, I think, from Ngwenya.
Sandile Mtetwa. All the way back to the Ivorian. Kouassi is living a little dangerously and gets away with it. Still a fairly youthful goalminder, Javier Kouassi. His first name literally means favour, and he almost did Sundowns one.
A little concern about his first game, or his debut game, of course, against Sekhukhune, but he's recovered so well that he's continued to play and has helped AmaZulu to get some positive. So I think a game like this is what he needs to really show his true character.
Alberto Mzimela played the first league game, kept a clean sheet in that 1-0 win over Stellenbosch, and then you're referencing Kouassi's debut, which came in that 4-3 defeat to Sekhukhune United in the MTN8. So a baptism of fire in the truest sense, but he's recovered fairly well since then and did keep a clean sheet last time out. The 2-0 win against Siulele. Khoza back to Ronan Williams. Now Grant Kekan.
Look at how far Ronan Williams is, almost close to the center line. And imagine that there's a slip up with that ball ends with AmaZulu and a long one, like it just happened now, but he seems to have timed it well. He's back to his normal place, closer to the goal line.
And Daka came steaming through. He manages to force her across through the legs of Khoza, but ineffectual. As Williams now bowls it out to Mailula, was in some space. Stretching to try and keep it alive was Ndlovu, but that's straight into touch. Cassius Mailula's reintroduction to Mamelodi Sundowns faithful has been quite sensational. The winner in what was the opening game of the season, the MTN8 quarterfinal against Polokwane City in extra time, and he's netted in back-to-back Premiership matches as well. On as a sub against Kaizer Chiefs to score, and then managing to net against Marumo Gallants as well. Fabulous goal, that one. Morena cushion to Williams. Tashik Matthews for Khoza. Back to Williams. He is one of only 3 players for Mamelodi Sundowns and have now started all of their league games, the other being Brian Leon and Tashrik Matthews, both of whom were left out of the 11 for the MTN8 over the weekend. Allende and Kulisi Modao previously fell into that category, but Modao injured and Allende rested today. Now, this is what AmaZulu love, to try and hit their opponents on the transition. And the ball's not really getting the zip that you would need. Makolo.
Looks like there's puddles all over the field. I thought it was just weight on top. But actually, in such a case, the ball does hold up in the puddles.
Ndlovu forces his way past Stomingam Daka. Philly stoops to head it behind for a corner kick.
Now, it's the speed which when Sundowns go forward in such case matters. A very difficult ball dropping in front of the defender here. He had no time to basically organize himself to clear it with his foot, preferring to head it away, which was still effective.
Basadin's come over to provide the in-swinging corner. Mamelodi Sundowns will be determined to make the most of their opportunities. Very rare for them not to score, but that was the case over the weekend as Basadin plays it into the box and Ndlovu lifts it up for teammates. Morena cracks it from quite some distance. It's a mistake from Liam Byrne that he makes almost immediate amends.
Once again, it's the slippery nature of the grass that I was talking about. I think that's what caught him flat-footed. Players must realize this is what the kind of tricks that the ball can play in such conditions.
Mamelodi Sundowns were just over 70% of the possession. They had 3/4 of the ball against Lamont for Golden Arrows. The said, failing to score, a bit of a rarity for them, just the third time in 25 matches in all competitions that they haven't managed to get a goal. And at home, it was the first time in 22 home matches that they hadn't scored, as Mamelodi takes a straight at Kwasi. Usually at home, Mamelodi Sundowns rampant. They had scored at least once in their previous 21 home games. They've scored at least twice in 15 of those games, and 3 or more in 8 of those matches, as Mbandwa controls with his head in the box. Daka. Makolo. There's Mbandwa again, and he had strayed offsides, and has been at AmaZulu now for 3 years.
Very tight one indeed.
Yeah.
I think just preferring to let go of his run a second earlier. And, you know, you'd have seen just how well AmaZulu can organize, orchestrate passes right in the center as well, regardless of the pressure around. That, for me, is brilliant. I mentioned the conditions, and if you're able to control the game in that format, in these conditions, then so much can be said about the quality of the players.
Kulise. Kekana. Mokoena receiving from Morena, hands it over to Mailula. Kekana again. Pass it in for Koza. Morena.
Just something that I just observe. I've seen Koza play before, but he's a great passer of the ball. Very calm. I'm not too sure what happened in this first stint when he commanded that position, even made it to the national team, and then all went flat. But what I'm seeing now is great quality in the way that he's so composed, and also obviously partnering Kekana in that center of the defense.
A slip from Hanamob as he dispensed that upfield. Sundowns have already conceded 3 goals in the league this season. It's the most after match day 3 since conceding 4 in their first 3 matches all the way back in 2012, 2013. So in terms of keeping it tight at the back, not the best start to their season by their own very, very high standards.
Indeed.
Make that 13 years since they last conceded as many in their opening 3 league games.
As the coach did allude to the situations that most of those goals conceded is mainly from mistakes of their own.
Yeah. Pasadena on the overlap. Tries he might, Novel. Not able to keep that in. Have to credit AmaZulu as well for the start that they've made. 7 points from their first 3 games. The last time they did that was in the 2022-2023 season. It's also the last time that they managed to go their opening 4 matches without defeats. It's something they could match tonight as it steered through here. Mbandwa, and then he had gone too early. Had Atini Makolo. He initially made the run expecting the original pass to come to him, and was already offside.
Yeah.
Ooh, or was he? Man, that's tight.
Maybe the pass as well, what it was lacking was the height to get behind the defensive line. And the player controlling first was under pressure of having to slow down, which is what allowed Makolo to run a little bit ahead, which made him look a bit offside. Still questionable though.
Now, since last season, a lot of trust has been placed in Makolo by Arthur Zwane. He turned 24 earlier this month. Did Atini. Matthews. Here's Williams. Morena. Back to Kekana. Burn trying to find Sikali, but can't link up with him. This is Mailula now for Sundowns. And Mokoena. Kulise. There is Spilelum Kulise again. Match winner against TS Galaxy. If ever you've seen such an impact from the bench, my goodness, a player who hadn't scored a league goal for about 2.5 years came on to score 2 in just a few minutes.
Incredible, I remember that game very well.
First in the 88th minute and then deep into injury time. Morena couldn't thread that one. Philly's clear. Something for Ngwenya to chase. We suspect he might see precious little of the ball. His first time scoring in 4 successive matches in South Africa. He did make a fast start last season. Scored 4 across 5 matches fairly early into the campaign.
Intensity of the game. You've got to love this.
Now Mokoena had 2 players on him. Still able to control under pressure and keep it moving.
Patient as they might be, but they're being forced to play that ball a little bit quicker than they've liked. His Mamelodi Sundowns, but that's just how AmaZulu are managing this game to force Sundowns into playing that ball quicker.
Makokolo receives and buys himself the free kick as well. It was a lovely little improvised pass from Nkosazana Khadebe to find him. Clear push from Mokoena. This is Hanamub now. Phillies for Kouassi. And very, very quickly onto Hanamub is Siandin Globo.
Once again, conditions. Hanamub thought he had it all in place, but that's a little bit of a slip up. That ball spraying away, allowing Lovu to close him down.
His signature was highly coveted in the off-season, but it's Mamelodi Sundowns who won the race. Big things expected of Siandin Lovo this campaign. Basadin again has gone short. Morena out of options. Back to Williams. Khoza. Sundowns currently 8 games without defeats against AmaZulu, 7 wins and just 1 draw. The last time AmaZulu won against Sundowns was over 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago to be exact. Augustine Molenga, the Zambian, with the lone goal in December of 2021 as Ndlovu plays the ball to the edge of the area. Cassius Mailula returns it to him. Ndlovu has played in a cross that's repelled at the near post, but he'll get it back quickly from Morena, and he returns it to Kekana now. This will not be at all unfamiliar for AmaZulu. They were the side last season. They're one of two sides that had the least possession overall in the course of the campaign. They are more than willing to soak up the pressure, often playing a 5 at the back and then hitting teams on the break.
As you often said, they're prepared to suffer without the ball.
Yeah.
And they're conditioned for that. You can only play such a kind of game if you condition to it. And this is obviously, I guess, comes from lots of preparation in training.
Well, they held Mamelodi Sundowns until deep into their previous league fixture that was back in February, a 1-0 win. The man on the bench today, Marcelo Allende, scoring in the 84th minute, the only goal of the game. In fact, the last 9 goals scored in this fixture, William, have all come in the second half.
He's not happy with the decision, Gekane. Nice to see at some stage whether it's justified to feel like you're aggrieved.
There's Ngwenya getting a little shove from Grant Kekane. Will have his hands full with the Zimbabwean, no doubt, when there are those rare moments for AmaZulu. And if Ngwenya did continue his scoring streak, he would not be the first Ngwenya to score in this particular tie. Dumisani Ngwenya is actually a top scorer for AmaZulu against Mamelodi Sundowns over the years, with 4 goals. By the way, the top scorer in this tie in the PSL era, or overall rather, is a man sitting somewhere in the stadium. It's Mambush, Daniel Modau, who scored 15 times in this particular tie. As you get a look at the two coaches, there's one much more animated of the pair.
I just like the discipline from AmaZulu. I mean, Mamelodi Sundowns has tried to lure them out of the middle block and bring them a little bit higher, but they're set on their ways and just making it very, very hard for Mamelodi Sundowns to draw them out or to try and play through the middle, which is what they do well. But it's the wide areas. Tashrik hasn't seen much action. That side of him has been close. Only though we have seen a little bit of light from this right inside of the channel.
A chance for Khoza now to stride into the opposition half and thread a gorgeous ball through here for Mailula, who takes aim down there to the... Oh! Wow, what a glorious goal from Brian Leon. That is a special hit.
Unbelievable. That is an unbelievable strike. I thought at some stage maybe they were going to catch him. Man, you don't get the volley in that fashion that often, but he got that so beautifully that the goalkeeper Kwase didn't even move an inch. I don't think he expected the shot from such an angle and from the ball coming from so high. That is Mamelodi Sundowns for you. Now, look at this. He tries Mailula. Oh man, look at how he opens up his body to wrap his foot all over the ball. Ah, it's a beauty.
And we're often told by the former pros, one of the hardest things to do in a pro game, an elite game like this, with pressure around you, to watch it coming, dropping, and to strike it like that. Well, he is superbly talented, is Brian Leon, but that is...
If I'm a goalkeeper and I get beat from that, I won't feel bad at all. It's better to be beaten by such a beauty than to be beaten by a ball that everybody will think that maybe you had a chance.
I did mention that the last 9 goals in this tie have all been past the half-time break, all second-half goals, as AmaZulu look to hit back here with Mbanjwa cutting it back. The last time there was a first-half goal was Lucas Ribeiro Costa's penalty in a 1-0 win, Sundowns away to AmaZulu in December of 2023. So the last first-half goal also came from a South American in this particular tie. Prodded forward by Tabo Mokoena for the goal scorer. Massive credit has to go to Malibonga Khoza as well for just taking the initiative, driving into the opposition half and playing a really good ball that was skipped by Mokoena for Mailula, ultimately resulting in that goal. hoisted diagonal for Omega Mdaka. What has he tried there? Was space in the box, and a teammate in the form of Mbanjwa calling for it.
Yeah. He picks it up here. Obviously, delights to cut it back to Mbanjwa. So now he's thinking maybe flashing it across the face of goal would have been a better option.
Deeply frustrating for there's one there. AmaZulu had only conceded 1 goal in 3 league matches coming into this one. Mamelodi Sundowns had to work very hard to get that opener.
Boy, when it came, it was sweet.
Basadin. Matthews, a little time on the ball for him. Kulise. Kekana. Morena. Back to his centre half. Koza. Space and time to try and pick another ball, but goes for the close option with Mailula. Kulise. Spotting some movements from Leon. Challenged well in the air against Rian Hanamuk.
Difference though is if you'll notice that Tarshik is not playing as wide as you'd have seen him in the past. He's dropping a little bit more central. Maybe it's why he's faded a bit from the game with Basadin maybe taking the most of the space down the left-hand side.
Kulise. Morena. It's good to have Tabela Morena back for the options that he does provide. I saw enough from his little cameo over the weekend to give him the starting berth today. He's looked very assured in the role up to this point in a defence that has seldom been troubled about half an hour into the match. As Siandrin Lovu looks to spark something.
Reminds me of Pesitao is Lovu. Diminutive, but also very pacey and skillful, minus his players in front of him.
Mokoena. Morena. Kulise. Good ball for Brian Leon. For once Basadin can't find Matthews. Wow. Referee Gasa spotted something in the build-up there. That affords Sundowns a great opportunity.
Now, look what happens here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Undoubtedly a foul.
Cheto is in, where Keegan has been featuring of the 3 central defenders of AmaZulu.
Yeah, just the one start for Allen in the league so far this this campaign.
Very central. And left-sided player, left-footed player, right-footed player can also be able to take. Let's see who's in that box. Mokoena, obviously. Basadin is the other. So, very difficult choice for the goalkeeper to try and set up his wall.
Well, it will require something special from here, but we've already seen an outrageous goal. Plenty of protection for Kouassi as Mokoena. Oh my goodness! What a strike from Topo Mokoena on his return. He was kicked to pieces in Sundowns' opening game of the season. He sat out the last 4. He's been itching to get on the park and to get his foot through a ball.
Wow, wow! This is just out of this world. I can tell you, this Mamelodi Sundowns team. I told you about the goalkeeper having a problem, not being too sure where to place his wall. And that's the very side he should have been. But because of the 2 players, he was compromised once more. But the take, he gets it over the wall. The distance is like very difficult for any player to get it over. Oh, man. This is where the goalkeeper should have been. That is where he was. He still gets bit. Beauty.
A gorgeous technique from Teboho Mokoena to put Mamelodi Sundowns 2 up. Well, you need a reaction when you're coming off a defeat, and that has often been the case under the tutelage of Miguel Cardoso. As I said, never lost back-to-back matches. In fact, each of the instances where they've lost a game, they've gone on to win only once where they held in their following game. So they usually produce some kind of reaction to losing, and they are again here this evening. Think about the last 3 goals that Sundowns have scored. Mainula's goal against Marumo Gallants, which was spectacular. Leon's today, and now Mokwena's.
I mean, what you do as AmaZulu and everybody defending to defend against that, there's absolutely nothing you can do. I mean, I thought the goalkeeper, I still feel that the goalkeeper maybe chose wrong. His position wasn't quite right.
This is looking good again, William. And Morena has misplaced his pass, but the work to get the ball through to him was excellent. There's Mkulise. Well, AmaZulu did win against Stellenbosch in their first away game of the season. They have not won successive away games, their first 2 away games to start a campaign since 2013-14 wins over Orlando Pirates and Ajax Cape Town. It doesn't look likely today, just considering the start that they made with under 10 minutes or just over 10 minutes until the break. As we get a look at how Ardazani reportedly set out to start this match, he might need to tinker a little.
The thing is, if you're playing against a side like Mamelodi Sundowns, if you're going to try and open it up, maybe to try and make a comeback, you might just be sliced even worse. Because, I mean, AmaZulu has tried to hold that low block, and it was working. Sundowns saw almost nothing in those first, 20-25 minutes. But because of the quality that they are, they'll press you up until you crack.
Kulise darts into a bit of space. Now AmaZulu on the ball. This is Khadebe,
who else has also seen nothing of his runs down the right-hand side.
Look at that work from Brian Leon to dispossess him. Now Tashrik Matthews wants to join the party. And a good recovery made.
Yeah, 1 touch too many from Matthews.
Miguel Cardoso, 40 home matches in charge. The defeat against Arrows was just the second he suffered as Mamelodi Sundowns coach at home. Looking for the 30th home win in charge of Mamelodi Sundowns this evening. Still a long way to go, but I guess we can say normal service resumes after that defeat to Arrows, because it's a real anomaly. In the league, they've only lost 1 of their last 45 home games with 38 wins, and that was that defeat at the end of the 2023-24 season to Cape Town City in their final game under Rulani Mokoena. So in the league, they are currently 30 games unbeaten at home, 31 if you include the expunged win over Royal AM back in 2024. So ahead, according to some, level according to others, with a record that was held for a very long time by Kaizer Chiefs between 2003 and 2005 of 30 games unbeaten at home. Just saw a moment ago some activity on the AmaZulu bench, William.
Hlangabeza and Keegan are the two players that are warming up the board. Very defensive. Hlangabeza is more of a defensive player, though he's more like an 8. And I mentioned that Mteto, for me, he obviously didn't start the season. Keegan was the more main one that fitted in that 3 at the back. But maybe coach might review that starting lineup, or that pairing of the 3 defensive line. But sometimes, you know what, you can put a blame, but in the way that Mamelodi Sundowns have been dishing up the passes left and right, for me, there's just no answer for that.
Oh, will Sundowns find another before the break against an AmaZulu team who had kept clean sheets in their last 3 away games dating back to last season? And their chance of keeping 4 in succession for the first time in 4 years is now gone. Here's Koza. Great kick out for Mailula. It's a crisp first-time ball from the centre half. Morena now gets it back from Ndlovu. Matthews, lovely skill to get away from Khadebe. And then a waste.
He looked too far ahead instead of maybe a cut back across the 18-yard area.
So Keegan Allen is being introduced here for Omega Mdaka, and Spamadla Zikali will also make way. Zikali, the only change from the Sibilele game, replaced Hlangabeza, and now comes on for him.
I'm interested if that formation is going to change a bit, maybe into a 4. Or Mdaka, with him out and a movement, moves into that wing-back position. And they keep the 3 in that center.
Could get worse for them. Claiming the last touch was off an opponent, and assistant agrees, so it will be a Sundowns corner. Miguel Cardoso would love to see this game effectively wrapped up as early as possible, so he can make changes, he can start thinking ahead to the weekend. Sunday's game in KZN against
Golden
Arrows would have to overturn a deficit. That MTN8 semi-final. Top 8 competition hasn't really been a happy hunting ground for them recently. They've fallen several times at the semi-final stage. Basadine's ball to the back post. Mokoena gets a boot on it. And it was always going to be difficult to keep that one in. And chastening first half for coach Arthur Zwane. His sides, his AmaZulu side, have conceded 10 goals in the 5 matches he's overseen against Mamelodi Sundowns since coming on board as head coach. Here's Rian Hanemo. It was a great take from the Namibian. Now trying to force the corner, or trying to keep it in, which he has done. Khadebe. Still Khadebe. And then taken off his toes at the crucial moment as Mokoena cushions it to Mainula. Option on his outside in the form of Tashrik Matthews. No real urgency though from Matthews. Well, with those 2 goals, William, Sundowns have now scored more against AmaZulu than any other team in the PSL era. That were the 86th and 87th goal today against AmaZulu. Previously, it only scored more against SuperSport United, 86 goals. And if you consider how many more times they would have faced SuperSports, I think a good 7 or 8 times more. AmaZulu have routinely been in for a hammering against this Sundowns side over the years.
If you talk about organisation in the AmaZulu side, I felt like this season they were more organised defensively, and also just the structure of the team. 3 at back, 5 in the middle, 2 up front, in the way that they're being opened up here. But you know, some will say, what did you expect? I mean, against Mamelodi Sundowns, honestly, you are lucky if you're able to walk away with a 1-0 throw, even the 2-2. This start that we saw this last season, I mean, this beginning of the season, was something else that we're not used to.
Well, you speak of those results and the fact that teams have stayed in it against Sundowns, even taken the leads against them. Now, the last time AmaZulu scored against Sundowns was coming from 2 goals down to draw 2-2 back in May of 2023. Zungu and Shalalile had scored for Sundowns, but Raman Patlele recently announced his retirement, and Junior Dion scoring in the second half to level things up. But it has been over 9 and almost 10 hours since AmaZulu last scored against Mamelodi Sundowns.
But now, my only worry, I know it's the 44th minute, and Mamelodi Sundowns are a little bit too chilled in defense. Even Ronald Williams is beginning to put passes in between defenders, and that for me is not a good sign. I know they're trying to keep the ball and try and wind the clock down, but worries me sometimes when I see players start doing that. Look at that.
That's a run for Moreno. That was clever. That's a necessary sliding intervention from Atine Makokolo, because who knows where Sundowns would have taken that had they been allowed to continue playing those silky passes. Spelelum Kulise, by the way, goes into the book for that challenge. Well, we are being royally entertained here in the nation's capital, but out in KZN, Richards Bay find themselves 2 goals up against Kaizer Chiefs. The young Kaba Ulu reportedly scored twice in that game. Now Valpazani knew coming here that was a tall task on his side's hands. AmaZulu's last away win over Sundowns was January of 2019, so that's 7.5 years ago now. Coming into this game, Sundowns had scored 14 and conceded 3 in their last 7. Now Offside. Well, that happened in a flash, and although it was offside, it does kind of give you a taste of what AmaZulu are capable of.
Yes, yes. Now, this will obviously give us he comes from an offside position. He had recovered a little bit, but his starting position was definitely way off.
First player since Bongi Ntuli in 2019, first AmaZulu player to score 3 successive league games. And Ngwenya does have a goal record for AmaZulu, averaging about a goal every 2 games. It's 12 in 23 appearances overall. And I think he might have had a few more had he not been injured. The tail end of last season, sat out the final 10 games of the campaign with a foot injury as the whistle goes to signal what has been a very fruitful first half for the Brazilians. Brian Leon giving them the lead with a spectacular volley, and Teboho Mokoena doubling it with a special free kick, and Sundowns have looked relatively untroubled in navigating this first 45.
More than anything for me, it was efficiency on their part, in the way that they didn't create too many.
No, but it'll be changes from the visiting dugout first, as we see a half-time alteration with Langilitle Mhlongo brought on.
Maybe to bring a little bit of some power, because he's more of an attacking midfielder. And because they've been inside of goal, Ronnie is hard to pick up the ball from a shot, and but they've got to balance it up. Still, they have to defend quite a bit to make sure that the scoreline doesn't increase.
So Tariq Phillies to Sandile Mthethwa, a centre-half pairing that will be hoping that they can keep Sundowns at bay in the second half. Out this one, they added the former Sundowns youth product Keegan Allen to the mix. Says, well, they needed a response early. It looks like the pressure of Ngwenya telling, and last touch might have been, of course, it's the left Ronwen Williams completely incapable of intervening here.
Came out from Ngwenya. I'm not sure if he knew much about it. It deflects initially from Koza into Ngwenya's foot towards goal. No reaction time for Ronwen in goals.
Well, it's not the prettiest of goals for Ngwenya, but what it does mean is that he becomes, having already been the first AmaZulu player to score in the opening 3 matches of a league campaign, now becomes the first player since Chris Katongo for Jomo Cosmos in 2006-2007 to score in his opening 4 games of a new league season. Quite a record that, I must say. It's been 20 years since a player has been able to net in each of the opening 4 Premiership matches of a season. And Ngwenya is now that man to have done it after Chris Katongo.
I mean, from first half, that's so nothing, to the 10 of events in the space of the first minute of the second half.
And they are looking a little uneasy here, Mamelodi Sundowns. That's nicely done by Leon. Gets it out of his feet from Matthews, whose ball has found in Global. Still searching for his first in Sundowns colours.
Scuffs the shot more than anything. I don't blame him for actually making an effort, because I thought the angle was still pretty much in his favour. Except for he was trying to pick up that far corner.
We are still trying to digest what we've just seen, that early goal from AmaZulu. It had been over 10 hours since they had last scored against Mamelodi Sundowns. Junior Dion's late goal in a, listen to this, 2-2 draw back in 2023. That was in May of 2023, so over 3 years ago now, where they did come from 2 goals down to rescue a point.
I'm just trying to look at how that ball came. Did the introduction of Hanamu into a wing-back made a difference? Because I'm not sure who actually delivered the cross. It might have come from him, which means his impact was very clear in that moment in being able to push forward and deliver with his left foot.
And now you suspect a little bit of anxiety might start to creep in from a Sundowns perspective, considering how they haven't had it all their own way up to this point, despite the fact that they are unbeaten in the league this season. There have been some very, very tricky outings for them. To work hard against TS Galaxy to get that win with 2 late goals from Kulise, and then Cassius Mailula's heroics against Kaizer Chiefs, rescuing them a point. They've only really been comfortable against Marumo Gallants in their 3 league outings so far. As Brian Leon turns on the afterburners, but Keegan Allen still manages to beat him to it. Man who left the youth ranks of Mamelodi Sundowns, where he starred for their reserve team to try and chart his own course, Keegan Allen, to get as much professional senior game time as he could. Ronan Williams asking for the ball from Kekana, finds Mailula, Kulise, Sandendlov all the way back once again. It's the 8th time in a row that these 2 sides are playing each other in midweek, by the way. Last time they played a weekend match was back in 2022. 1-0 win for Mamelodi Sundowns here at home. Marcelo Allende scoring in injury time to win that game. First minute of injury time was his 3rd goal for Mamelodi Sundowns in his first season at the club, as they look to re-establish their 2-goal cushion here. Kouassi spilled it into danger, and Tashrik Matthews profits. They have restored their cushion. Didn't take them long at all.
If only Kouassi knew that there was no threat behind him, and unfortunately there was no time to be able to look behind to see if it's clear, because him intercepting that ball means that he sets us up for Tashrik Matthews, because Allen was already out of the picture in that moment with the goalkeeper getting involved. And there was not enough time to even communicate, to say, okay, let it go. I mean, you could hardly even hear yourself speak. It's so loud in the field. Now, look at this. This is what I'm talking about here. If goalkeeper lets it go, no danger. But how does he know what's happening behind him?
There's a better look at it, yeah. Still probably some communication issues, the French and the English to sort out in the weeks and months to come. But Kouassi, for the 2nd time in his AmaZulu career, has conceded 3. Oh, Williams caught on it. He escapes unscathed. Good ball from Basadine. Matthews has the pace to get there ahead of Phillies. Hanamu's awkward clearance has fallen for Leon, who was trying to replicate the heroics of the first half.
When a game is played at such a pace, this type of mistakes do happen, whereby as a defensive unit you're not given the time to think or communicate. And I think in this case Sundowns played with such pace that AmaZulu caught here thinking about what's next.
Radebe goes on a little dart, gets away from Basadine. Looks to be a good ball. Oh, was decent. Trying to find Hanemo, but lovely intervention from Siandin Lovu. Putting his best foot forward defensively this time around.
Beautiful pass from Radebe. Remember, he's an offensive midfielder, but he tracks back because his man is so far forward just to keep in line with him. Great defensive forward.
First corner of the game for AmaZulu. In by Radebe, repelled by Mailula. Klongo. And Tetris offside. Here comes Marcelo Allende. Does have a couple of goals against AmaZulu over the course of his Mamelodi Sundowns career. In his first season, scored the winner when Sundowns hosted AmaZulu, and then in the previous campaign, their second meeting of the season, again a late winner in a 1-0 victory. It was a spectacular goal as well last season. Allende hit it crisply from the edge of the area. Swerving ball from Basadine, causing Kwasi some problems.
Got a good hand to it.
So it is Allende, the first player introduced by Mamelodi Sundowns this evening. And he comes on for a wildly popular Cassius Mailula. Now the chance for the beloved Chilean to imprint himself on this game.
His introductions for me is alongside being able to protect this lead at the same time. You know, he can play in being able to keep the ball, rotate. He's beautifully at rotating the ball defensively, but also he's got an eye for a pass going forward. So he mixes it all up. You need a player with that kind of versatility.
Yeah, and we said first time in 5 matches that Sundowns have managed to score 3 against AmaZulu. The last time they hit 4 against the side was in the 2020-2021 season, a 4-3 win, a game in which Tim Bazwani scored an 11-minute hat-trick after Lehlohonolo Majoro had given AmaZulu the lead. And here is Allende picking it up from Mokoena. And I think you're right in saying, William, that we will see a lot of that creativity of Allende coming out, especially when you operate in front of a metronome like Mokoena, will just keep it ticking over, knowing you have the license to try and release those passes, play those risky balls. Because his first major impact, those to go into the book.
Yeah, he was late there. He catches Hlangabeza on the shin.
Slangabeza lofting it forward for Ngwenya. Does manage to lift it into the box. Two different Ngwenyas have now scored for AmaZulu against Mamelodi Sundowns. Ngwenya gets it clear. Not quite far enough as Hanemob launches it in. Khadem. Mhlongo. Makolo. Big decision from the referee. Just outside the area.
I would like to see exactly what could have been the form of the foul there. Steps.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm not sure why Pasadena is protesting against the ref, because I'm sure he must have known that he stepped on him.
Already seen one spectacular free kick, although that was from a fairly conventional position. Not as if Hanemob isn't capable, and we've seen them fly in from here before, but it is a bit of a rarity. Instead it will be Kadebe. The referee noticing some kind of infringement.
There's always going to be exchanges of handbags in that area. You can't keep track of everything that goes in there as a ref. Some of them, you just overlook them and let go. Let's get on with this game.
Do they go for the same again? This time it's Hanemob. Oh, he's trying to sneak that in at the near post. Brilliantly done by Pasadena, who gave away the free kick initially.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Hanemob hooks it in.
Running with the punch.
Oh, Slangabeza dispensed out to his skipper. Down under the challenge of Leon and AmaZulu with a sustained spell of pressure now. Hanemob's ball in.
Another clearance from the near post.
That's 4 successive set pieces for AmaZulu. This is something Sundowns would have been working very hard on, considering they conceded 3 times from set pieces in their opening 2 matches of the season, as Robert Williams makes an easy claim here. Doesn't have all too many outlets, although the likes of Kulise and Ndlovu are racing upfield to provide him with some. There's Kekana. Koza.
I like his range of passes. He didn't get this one right, but he can play short, medium, and long. Incredible for a defender. It's very smooth on the ball.
Scored the opener against Rumo Gallants in their last league game, did Malibongo Koza. Mokoena's given it away to Slangabeza. Mhlongo just waited too long on it. Tashik Matthews trying to release Leon. He's held his run, he stayed on sides. It's a critical touch from Tetwa.
he was onto it. I think his first touch maybe slows the ball down a bit, which allows Mthetho to get around it.
Bassadin. Oh, clever. Not good enough with the ball in. Makolo. Hounded by Bassadin, who fouls him. Including today, over the course of the 8-game unbeaten streak against AmaZulu. That stretches back to the end of 2021.
Oh, he might go.
Oh, wow.
I think that's his second, if I'm not mistaken.
Allende has one.
Oh, it's Allende, not
yeah.
Bruno.
Oh, not Brian.
Oh. Locking. I thought, what is he doing? Has he forgotten? But that's, you got to love that. The commitment from the attacking players. We saw Ndlovu earlier coming up with a great tackle. Now it is Brian chasing.
Decent looking ball in. When you rose for it, it's still there. Koza flaps about of it. Kalebe helping it forward, but a little aimlessly. So Emma Trauke is 30,000 rands richer, courtesy of Betway and Spunisa and Win, and I must say, deservedly so.
Indeed.
Look at that outfit. Did you see the outfit from yesterday in Orlando? One of the most spectacular winners we've witnessed yet. Wow. That's right up there. Morena. It's a lovely ball. Matthews! Oh! He's got a second bite. He sets it up for Leon, who doubles his tally on the night. Well, it deserved a goal for the ball played through.
Listen, I love Trashik. I mean, a chance to have a go at it himself after the ball rebounded from the toss, but he preferred to see if there's a better option, which was, of course, Leon. Rolls it across beautifully. Now, the question is, did Kausa maybe have a chance to stop this one? Because I feel like it goes underneath his body. Was there another way that he could have stopped it? That's just my view.
Brian Leon scored Sundowns' first Premiership goal of the season in that delayed game, or their delayed start rather, and they took on TS Galaxy. That was from the penalty spot. He's got 2 this evening. Look at that take from Matthews to bring the ball down. I think Morena played it to him brilliantly.
Okay, let me tell you what the goalkeeper could have done better. According to me, he dives. The ball is so close to him, he just needed to use his legs better. That's right here.
Sundowns running riots. They hit 4 against AmaZulu for the first time since the 2020-2021 season. Well, last time they got more than 4 goals was in the League Cup in the 2019-20 season, managing a 5-0 victory. The last time that they scored more than 4 in a league game, the 7-0 win in 2013-14. AmaZulu could be in for a real hiding here. Not to say that 4-1 isn't already a scoreline that they'd like to forget quickly.
Along the way, similarly, they seem to be losing shape. And yes, they're still playing with intent to go forward.
Two former legends flanking Chairman Klopping Motsepe. Shopo Kekano scored in that 7-0 game that we just mentioned, as well as Tiani Sugar Mabunda. Should correct myself, 7-1 victory that was now 12 years ago.
Is that Alfie over there, one of our own?
Well, AmaZulu did make a good start on the road in the opening game, 1-0 over Stellenbosch, although to be fair, not technically an away game. They might pull another back. Oh, they do! Oh, they have! And it is Ngwenya. Well, he scored twice now in the second period, and both times you have to feel like Mamelodi Sundowns did themselves no favours.
Now, I guess running a little bit hesitant in coming out, and Ngwenya just barely hurts. Makogolo gets attached to it to get it past him, and Ngwenya at hand to profit from.
Wow, let me tell you something, William. It's the second time that someone with Ngwenya on the back of their shirt has scored a brace for AmaZulu against Mamelodi Sundowns. The first time actually happened to be in AmaZulu's first ever PSL era win over Sundowns. They had gone 14 games winless in the league against Sundowns with 11 defeats before. Dumisani Ngwenya scored a brace in a 2-1 win back in 2007-2008 season, a game in which the sublimely talented Gift Leremi actually also got on the score sheet for Sundowns. But how about that? Ngwenya now leading goal scorer in the league, the first AmaZulu player to ever score in their first 4 matches, and the first since Chris Katongo 20 years ago in South Africa's top flight to net in each of his side's opening 4 games. Brian Leon played that one blind and a little too heavy with the pass.
Yeah. You know what, you got to give it to AmaZulu. I thought at 4-1, Spirit would be, they'll be down and out, and yet they continue to fight. I mean, that was the lowest cost for me from Makogolo to try and chase.
They have just a bit of belief now, do AmaZulu. Makogolo lays it off. It's lifted in. It's Phillies. Khadebe. It's a cross from Khadebe. Needed a much better connection. The flag had been raised in any case, so that would not have been Ngwenya's hat-trick. 3 Sundowns players have scored hat-tricks in this time, but never an AmaZulu man. And one of the hat-trick scorers is coming on. Tembazwanis turned 37 earlier this month. It's one of 3 changes, and Kulisi and Lobo and Basadine all make way.
It doesn't matter where these results go eventually. This has been some game for me. I mean, it just goes to show the competitive nature of what the Betway Premiership has become.
That's the great Tembazwane. He's only featured in one of Sundowns' last 5 games against AmaZulu prior to this. But of all active players, He is the top scorer in this tie with 6. He's netted 8 times against AmaZulu, 6 times for Mamelodi Sundowns, and twice with the Mpumalanga Black Aces. And as mentioned, one of 3 Sundowns players to score a hat-trick in this tie. Daniel Mudau did it first in a 4-0 home win in 98-99. Lucas Libera Costa more recently. And Tim Bezwane in 11 minutes. First half hat-trick back in November of 2020. Unfortunately, both fans got to see it. There's Aubrey Modiba. Into space for Bennett Mokoena, but it's just strays out. Well, it had taken a slight touch, so Sundowns retaining possession here. Koza. Mokoena, Bennett Mokoena, that is. There's Teboho Mokoena lofting it forward here for Aubrey Modiba, has taken it well. Leon! Oh, he's looking to become the 4th to score a hat-trick in this particular tie.
With AmaZulu chasing this game, they've lost the shape in that middle. I think they've pushed a bit more for players forward. Sundowns are beginning to find it a little bit easy.
Rakikana with a successful challenge.
Look at how high AmaZulu. I know it still has a deficit of 2 goals, and if you have a chance to do anything, you've got to press a little bit higher. But boy, are they opening themselves for more harm. Now, look at when that's
plenty of players they've committed forward, and Sundowns might be able to catch them here. Zwane has 2 options, almost appeared to run themselves offside. Leon at least did. Now, Modiba's played a brilliant ball here. He's put it in the back of the net as Leon, but the flag was raised. That must be awfully tight.
Not too sure about that call as well. We'll have a chance to look at it at some stage, but again, we mentioned how open AmaZulu are. Very easy for Sundowns to slice through and put that ball to the runner. It's in chase of a recovery. Fortunately, it comes at a price. If you get it right, yes, it works, but gee, the danger is there could be more.
Flonga down under the challenge of Mokoena. Sundowns might take this opportunity to make a change with Brian Leon clearly struggling, and it does look as though he will soldier on here.
But replacement is being prepared on the bench.
Flangabeza to Hanamo out wide. Skips away from Tashreeq Matthews and gets the corner. Ikram Reyners standing by. Another that scored a couple of times in this particular tie. Leon at the header clear. Only as far as Khadebe. AmaZulu can't do anything with the ball on the edge of the area. So Reyners, who scored the opener in a 2-0 win in last season's corresponding fixture, as well as a 90th minutes winner when AmaZulu hosted Sundowns on Christmas Eve in 2024 is coming on for Brian Leon. This is Koza under some pressure. Tossed in by Khadebe. Koza, towering leap to get it clear. Tariq Phillies keeps it moving. The pass to Hanamub, and Matthews, who turns 26 next month, has fouled him. Hanamub's ball. Allen meets it. That's
No power behind it.
Zwane. His last of the 6 goals he scored against AmaZulu came in the opening game of the 2021-2022 season. He scored from the penalty spot in a 1-0 win. Slangabeza retrieves for AmaZulu. Tetwa sees some movement from Khadebe. He's in pursuit of it up against Aubrey Modiba and does get there first. Wiley Modiba managing to win the ball. Here's Zwane. Gliding past his man. Tetwa doing his best to try and hold him back. And sees a yellow brandished in his face as a result of that indiscretion.
I guess that's the best Tetwa could do. This man was, like you say, gliding through past him, and imagine when he's in the offensive part with all the options that he had in front of him.
For Morena, now Zwane, Matthews. Neatly done by Mamelodi Sundowns. Keeping the ball well. Koza. His pass cut out by Khadebe. Then Zwane steps in to re-establish possession for the hosts.
I like Zwane Nalende. When the game gets going, when it gets this type of minutes, the rotation of the ball is of the highest kind between those two.
Yeah.
And once again, it looks like the scoreline is confirmed. There's a win for Mamelodi Sundowns. So now,
oh, there could be more. Rainers, Allende for Zwane, just over the top. Well, we are into the final 10 minutes, and the last 4 meetings between these sides have seen a goal scored in the final 10 minutes of the match. Will there be another this evening?
there's a big chance. So with AmaZulu still not consolidating that middle of the park and making sure that they stay consolidated, the chances for that to happen is very high, as we're looking to some more substitution being made by Sundowns, by AmaZulu.
AmaZulu throwing on Sitole and 24-year-old Tapelo Matloko. Had that flown in from Zwane, by the way, he would have joined Katakopela as the second top scorer in this tie over the course of 49 PSL era league meetings between these two sides. Oh, it's a slip, but the worst possible moments for the new man on Sitole. There's a Kromreiners. Bennett Mokoena. For Modiba. Can't cut it back to find a teammate.
He's a strong man, Gwenya. He reminds me of those olden type of strikers. And of course, there's many names that we can bring on board. And as far as the Samaro Kulus of this world, the Max Makunyan, the absence Shukom Kuyo, if I may go on and count those from Zim as well.
We've seen some cards for the Mamelodi Sundowns dugout. Look like Miguel Cardoso as well as Cassius Mailula. This is a match that has historically averaged just under 2.5 goals per match. It's a pretty decent return. Sundowns at about 1.8 goals per game of the previous 48, so 4 tonight. And AmaZulu, who've averaged only about a goal every 2 games against Sundowns over the decades, have managed 2 tonight. Wonderful high-scoring affair here. Good ball for Khadebe. Escapes the attentions here of Modiba. Hlongo. Corner kick for AmaZulu. Played in by Khadebe. Rising forward is Phillies. Floated forward by Malibongo Koza. Good take by Ben Mokoena. Now Kromreiners. Zwane can't link up with Allende. Sundowns looking to extend their winning streak against AmaZulu to 7. Longest ever winning streak from the start of the PSL era to 2001-2002. They won 9 in a row against Lesotho. Mokoena receives. That's Tapoho to Bennett. Zwane. A little risky, but the fans loved it. Here he is again. Modiba. Allende, Mokoena. Hey. Good exchange of passes. There's it, Kromreiners. And Zwane in support. And he plays Zwane with the back heel, the classic Zwane to set him up, and he can't finish.
When he gets going, when this team gets going, it's just amazing. It's beautiful soccer all around, nice touches, combinations of the highest order. Oh man, that's just simply being unlucky. Otherwise, AmaZulu's defense was done and out. They still want more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Disappointment, despite the fact that we've seen 4 this evening and the team are winning comfortably at this stage. 2 goals up, 2 minutes left.
He's been brilliant, Mokoena, as well in that middle of the park. And just being able to control and set the tone of which way this game is going. Even him in Allende, it just got better and better.
Schlangenberger. Gadebe. Still Gadebe. Nguenya. A low ball in, away by Teboho Mokoena. Gadebe. Dispossessed by Timbazwani. Here's Bena Mokoena. Allende, Swane. Oh, a little lazy from Sundowns. Nguenya pounces on it. Getting a return ball from Matloko. Worked out wide to Sitole. Sitole's ball in. Sees Grant Kekana under it. There's Phillies. Hanamub. Ball out of play. Party atmosphere. And Loftus Versfeld's a far cry from the emotions at the Lucas Moripe Stadium over the weekend, as Cashman Matthews has remained on side here. Might still work out. Oh, it has worked out! Bennett Mokoena! Well, it was all a bit scrappy in the end, but he made sure with the finish.
That's how united the Sundowns team is. I mean, how they appreciate the young stars. Ron Williams have come all the way from the other side to be able to give a pat to the young star. The whole bench left their positions to come and congratulate him. That, for me, is the biggest statement in this game tonight. Just how united this Sundowns team, regardless of how well they're doing. Scattered all over. This is what I said earlier. AmaZulu trying to push for a third goal, opening them up to this fashion. Can the goalkeeper, could he have done better? I don't think so.
The 19-year-olds on the score sheet now as Mamelodi Sundowns hit their 5th on the evening. Into 5 minutes of additional time here. And here is Mokoena once again. A lovely moment for the teenager in front of his home fans. AmaZulu have their next match next week, Friday. They're away to Richards Bay. Mamelodi Sundowns on Sunday, this coming Sunday, will take on the Montville Golden Arrows away from home. The second leg of their MTN8 semi-final, currently trailing by a goal to nil. Tetra, Phillies, flung forward by Phillies. Sitole. Well, the game is lost now, but still an opportunity for another goal. Oh.
Easily, that could have found its way to the back of the net. That's just, it's a game that had so many potential goals in it. I mean, Sundowns could have scored actually 2 or more. Maybe, who knows? We might still add another one here.
Zwane. Mokoena, fresh from his first for the club, almost gets a second. Urge to shoot, says Teboho Mokoena. Now, the 6th may still come. Ikram Reyners. Tashrik Matthews. Choice from Matthews. Now up the other end. AmaZulu offside. And that should be it. Yeah, at Loftus Versfeld. Final whistle sounds in the nation's capital. Extraordinary Betway Premiership match. 7 goals, 5 of them scored by Mamelodi Sundowns, who join Orlando Pirates on 10 points at the top of the log. We've seen some brilliant strikes.